Uh, Sorry about that. Instagram cut me off. Little shits. Yeah, Instagram cut me off because I played that video. Every time I play it, the sound picks up the copyrights on it and cuts me out. What's a bummer is I lost all that footage that I was. I lost all that footage that I was. All the earlier section of that session is lost now. If you're joining again, Instagram cut me off because I was showing a video that I didn't have the rights to. So, yeah. I'll continue. Just for the sake of the recording of this, I'm just going to backtrack a bit to just explain what happened and what I was talking about. So this is the final session of the all-day birthday special. We had Ocean introduce the session earlier, and then I kind of broke out into the idea of how I've been using GIFs and how I've been using the idea of a loop in a comedic way to share ideas, but also share a narrative on Instagram. So again, apologize for the cut. Instagram decided to punish me, so I won't be showing that video again. What I was breaking down was the system to how I post. So I showed you a bit about the going saved folder, and the going folder, to recap, is where I keep all the loop ones, the narratives that relate to the yearly theme that I'm trying to unpack and explore. The idea of still going, the idea of something being seamlessly endless, and so everything goes in that folder. More people are joining. Sorry we got cut off. Just unpack it again. Instagram cut me off and deleted all the videos because the saved video, because I was showing that cash in, cash out video without copyrights. So back to the stories. So I have that folder, and then I have the show and tell folder, and the show and tell folders are interesting things, and I also keep things in there that maybe in the future will be useful in terms of communicating. Like I might see a video that I really like, or a photograph that I really like that I know a friend will like. So I have a tendency to keep that in the show and tell. So if you're a type of person, you and I communicate a lot with on Instagram, and we share memes and we share links, usually the links that I send you are coming from that folder. And so all day long, whenever I try to check for content, I'm saving stuff into those folders. So when I wake up in the morning and I start this ritual of posting, it's very fast. I get the posting for this story done in about maximum 20 minutes, and then I'm off Instagram. So that's really useful. So I have that sort of Dave Chappelle format where I create the context, the safe environment, then I say the joke that represents the theme for the year, and then I end with the vibe for the day, which is meant to sort of close up that story, so it creates another safe environment of looseness. So if the story that I posted earlier did trigger any uncomfortable feelings, which I don't think they really do, if they do though, it's softened by the emotion, the empathy emotion that I'm evoking with that selected track. So what's interesting about these narratives in social media, or just online in online discourse, is the ability to create narratives that build on each other, like a meme. And you know what's fantastic about a meme is that in order to qualify as a meme, it has to be viral. The virality of the meme is part of its memeness. So I'm hoping to share these things and post these things because the people who posted them before me have put that out there. And the way I see Instagram is that this is a playground of content that we're all playing with. And I think TikTok sort of accidentally did that. But I'm playing in the Instagram playground, you know, and I think I think I have my friends for that because my friends introduced me to Instagram. I think actually Adam created my account for me because you had to have a smartphone at the time to create an account, and at the time I didn't have a smartphone. So to me, it always seems like a playground to play, and I think we get carried away in this world as though we have to have a strong presence on Instagram or any kind of web presence, a website, or anything online. But it's more important, I think, to create a space. So if you, particularly for people like us who are creatives and who are graphic designers, it's important to create that space. And it's something that I talked about earlier this morning about the scenius. And if you weren't there this morning, I talked about something that I heard Brian Eno say in an interview where he said that just as there's a genius in a cultural movement, there's a scenius, which is the scene. It's the environment that produces the genius, and it's conducive. It only happens in a very small window if the conditions are perfect. And there's people that have attempted to identify what the criteria is for a scenius. And I think that for a lot of us creatives, that the internet is that window. It's that moment in time right now, in this decade, in the last few decades. Lisa's Scenius. Yeah. Just Google. I'll just switch the screen so you can see. What you want to do is you want to look up Brian Eno, his interview on YouTube, where that's called "Don't Get a Job." The interview is actually about him talking about how it's really important for you to do something that is not necessarily the cookie cutter solution for your industry. So it's like to try and do something. Anyways, you go watch the interview. But the part that's interesting is the idea of the scenius, which is the communal genius. And I was talking about that this morning as the introduction to today's ideas. Is that the internet and the social media, and particularly for me, the Instagram, has that potential to be that scenius. But it's just that we're not really playing with it enough. We're just posting. We're just working for Instagram. We're just like creating stuff that for it. And I don't know if you feel like this, but whenever I post online, I always feel like I'm working for some boss, you know, who's like cracking the whip, saying more content, produce more content, and it doesn't have to be like that. I think it could be more like zines, you know, where when people were making zines, or when there was a culture based around a music group, you would find out where the band's traveling and you would go there, and the part of this, what I'm doing with you right now, by going online live and putting myself in a center to have a discussion with someone, is like an attempt to use Instagram, I think, in a similar way, like a playground. Like, hey, I'm going to be at the playground today. At every 2 hours, I'm going to be at the monkey bars. Anybody who wants to come to monkey bars and talk shit, come there at 2 o'clock. And I think when you think about it that way, it starts being a bit more interesting. And that's what I'm trying to do with these stories. Now, people are messaging me and commenting on the stories and telling me either how they feel about it or what they're doing and what it means to them and how they enjoy it. Or some people continue that conversation, or they'll reply to my story with an extension of that. And then what's interesting is it has potential to become a conversation through pictures. So uh, I believe that memes, particularly, but GIFs as a specific category in the meme world, through social media or WhatsApp, any form of online communication, is a novel human discourse. It's something. It's an interesting. I don't know if it's an actual language yet, or if it will ever be, but it's something interesting. It's something fun, and there's also audio GIFs too. I was using audio GIFs in order to for our reading lists for the Public Works newsletter. There's a reading list that comes with every story. Every monthly story comes with a whole bunch of stuff, like what I did with you today. It comes with all these extra things to go and check out that could link to that story, and quite often I'll use an audio GIF in order to summarize what that story is about. So let's go look at some of these GIFs. Let's go look at some of this stuff. I have some other folders like Check It. Check It is usually, if I see something that a client or that we're trying to do, it's an example that I might be able to use. I put in that folder. A folder that you probably don't see me using that often, but that hopefully will get used more often, is this folder called Don't Let 'Em Fool Ya. And for those of my friends who are from Toronto, particularly Parkdale, and have heard any of Graham's story, you'll know what the story is behind Don't Let 'Em Fool Ya. Don't let 'em fool you. Let's switch this over. So this folder that I have here, Don't Let 'Em Fool You, are your standard smart quotes, but also things that are not necessarily said by a lot of people, but that represent have a great ethos or have a very strong evocative rasa, like this one, like this Neil Gallagher quote.
Got a Rolls Royce. I've got 3 stalkers. I'm about to go on the boat.
Right, let's play this again.
Listen, I've got £87 million in the bank. I've got a Rolls Royce. I've got 3 stalkers. I'm about to go on the board at Manchester City. I'm part of the greatest band in the world. Am I happy with that? No, I'm not. I want more. Listen, I've got
I want more. So you see, like, if I send that to someone, or if I post that in the morning as the kind of like the vibe of the day, it's incredibly powerful. It's and I think it evokes quite clearly an emotion. I'll play you another one. This one is a little bit more. It's starting to get a lot more of a butch archetype, and it's starting to get a lot more aggressive, and it starts getting on that extreme of being perhaps even considered nowadays toxic.
Got your goals written down, you got your 22 push-ups, and your dick is harder than a fucking missile. You understand me? Right. Fuck the world, fuck what they're telling you. It's you and me against all these motherfuckers, hand-to-hand combat on a daily. You understand me? And if your thought process ain't like that, bend over and Vaseline that asshole, because that ain't gonna get no better for you. You got your...
So here you've got a combination of the angle of the camera. You've got the music playing in the background. You've got the tone of voice, and you've got the very direct way of speaking. But if you send that in the wrong environment, if you don't set it up with something that is safe, that creates a safe space, or at least a space of empathy, it starts becoming very aggressive. So if you send that, you could also be seen as aggressive. On the other hand, there's something quite powerful about pictures of people with text on their clothing. I've always found it really interesting, because if I put a quote on a colored background, so here it says, "Lord, watch over me while I get this money." There's so many mornings where I've wanted to post that and send it out as a representation of how I feel sometimes. if you're running a business, a small business like myself, you will appreciate what this means. And sometimes you feel like you don't recognize what you're doing as being something that you thought you would do a year ago. But there's something quite powerful, because if I just took that and put it on a blank background, it would have meaning to me, but it wouldn't have as much of an emotional meaning as when it's on someone's t-shirt, and particularly when it's on someone's t-shirt who's not looking at the camera, who's not looking at you. It becomes where you're peering into what that person is thinking about. When you look at this picture and you see the pictures of these people who are being referenced, well, in this case it doesn't really work, but particularly that first one, the person's got their back to them, and it really gives you the feeling like you're feeling what they're feeling, essentially. And there's all kinds of great things you can do with this, and sometimes it's just an emotion. There's one particular video that I almost posted a few days ago that I'm waiting to post. It's such a strong image, and there's nothing being said, but it's the way it's been captured. I think it's in here. I posted this one a few days ago. It's quite powerful. So here you can see that the music emphasizes certain facial features. So the combination of music, the combination of a very intended focus on a particular face, it starts evoking those emotions. So I want to play this other one, which is a lot more intense. It's a complete different feeling, a complete different rasa. And then there's some golden stuff. That's just. It's not here. I think it must be in a different section. I think it's in the going folder. So this is some stuff I posted today. You might recognize some of this. I try to keep it as funny as possible. There's some things that basically expose the silliness of content that is shared. Watch this.
Your longest nails, your shortest nails, the nails you've hated the most, your favorite color of nails. Show me your favorite nails, your most expensive nails.
So that doesn't really make much sense, and it's quite boring in some ways, but when it's juxtaposed with another story, perhaps something a little bit silly, like this, it starts making the whole universe a bit wacky, a bit obnoxious, disconnected. And then when you pair that, if you pair that up with something that is quite meaningful, that says something, you're essentially getting that Dave Chappelle strategy of contextualizing something and then sharing a message. So I'm not sure where I'm going with the Instagram stories and these loops and the narrative. I do know that I'm going to finish the Still Going until the end of the year, and then start a new narrative, a new theme next year, and then explore that through stories. But I think as for all graphic designers and all designers, it's really important to be constantly taking the commercial skills that you have. So if you're a logo person or a type person, or an illustration person, whichever way you make your money, it's important that you take those and you try and challenge what you know in these new environments. Because a lot of the reasons why I got into Instagram or using Instagram is because it seemed like something that was going to become more and more important for clients, but also for how people communicate. You know, that we're all so far apart. Having a tool that allows us to communicate with new people is really useful. So yeah, so that kind of summarizes the rasa of the GIF of the loop. Let's see if we can load up the GIF page again. Giphy. You know, there's something interesting also about Giphy, or any kind of GIF aggregator, is that it creates a snapshot of the emotional state of the world, or at least the online world. So if you were to look at, so at the end of the year, at the end of this year, Giphy and the other GIF aggregators are going to publish the most popular and shared GIFs in the year. And what's going to be interesting about that, and if you want, you can look at last year's, you can see what the emotional state of people online were at any particular time in the year based on what kind of GIFs they're sharing. Because the GIFs, as we were discussing earlier, there are three types of GIF users. There's the enthusiast, there's the researcher, and then there's the referentialist. All of them are using them based on what is meaningful at that time. And particularly the majority of people are posting as enthusiasts, and they're using GIFs to express emotions at a time. So people are posting the same kind of content and sharing it. It means that there's a bit of a group think, there's a bit of a trend in that emotion. So it's interesting that I like to go on to Giphy in the mornings, or every once in a while throughout the week, to see what are the those here? What are the you made it just for the end. Maybe we can do a little drum session and close it down. Yeah, because I think there's about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
Shall we? Hello. Shall we? Thank you, big guy. What we'll do is I'm just gonna finish this idea. It's okay. Come and give me a hug. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You're on TV, man.
It's fine. It's fine. There's no. We're breaking the ceiling. We're breaking the glass ceiling. It's the third narrative. So I want to finish up this idea though, that the GIF is a great snapshot, and when I go online to see, it's always interesting to see what people are sharing and the mood that people are in, the rasa that people are sharing the most. Of course, everyone's always having birthdays, so the birthday gifts are always the most popular ones. But it's a great snapshot of the current emotional state of the online world. A couple other things I wanted to say before I wrap it up is the idea of the searcher, the GIF searcher, the one that's looking for the perfect GIF or the perfect meme. We're spending a lot of time trying to find that articulation. One of the things that we found that was quite useful is that when we were creating language packs for businesses. So we create a whole language set that the businesses could use to make sure that these words appear in their communications. So we would identify words that fit within the framework of the business, the brand articulation framework, and then that would become a language book to reference, and the online social managers would use that and would identify replies that we've suggested. But we started also including emojis that are sort of conducive to that rasa, that evocative emotion, but also that archetype. And then from there, we also started looking at GIFs and recommending GIFs. And what was happening is that the people who were running these businesses and running their online business were just as tired as we were of spending all this time trying to find the right GIF. So by creating the database first, essentially it's a hybrid of what I was showing you about my Instagram account and the folders that I keep for the different narratives, for the different parts of the story. They were able to save an enormous amount of time when they were publishing their story. And then we also found that there was two types of memes or GIF that are being used. There's the classic ones, which have a story that you're always referencing. So that could be, a movie that you're always referencing, Charlie Chaplin, the Charlie Chaplin scene that is iconic, and you're referencing it, and it's always being used that way. And then there's the novel one, and the novel ones are the wild cards, and those are the ones that if you're a researcher GIF user, or you're the type of person that likes to be identified as being creative or original or different, you're constantly searching for that novel one. So either you're evolving the meme into something that is new, so you're demonstrating your cleverness, your wit, your ability to turn something upside down like the trickster, or you're finding something that is obscure that no one knows about, and then recontextualizing it. And what's interesting is that it's always been really easy to take something that comes from the East and use it in the West in a new way, and rearrange the narrative, and vice versa, something from the West and introduce it in the East and rearrange the narrative. But now, because of these platforms, because of how easy information travels, the context that you're removing still stays there. There's still a shadow of where it comes from. So it becomes incredibly complex, and I find that fascinating. I find that the meaning in GIFs and the memes are incredibly. It's so sophisticated, and it keeps changing every time it's shared. It takes on a new meaning. So, anyways, that wraps it up. We've got a bit 10 minutes or 8 minutes to wrap it up. How do you want to do this? Should we do a little drum?
Yeah.
Drum down. Should we take them into the jungle for a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit of jungle vibes. Go. You're gonna have to stay calm though. It's gonna get really loud. No. We heard you. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is the last session of the All Day Alain birthday special. Thank you for those of you who came to all 5 sessions. I don't understand why, but obviously you found something useful. Thank you again for coming from my birthday party. Good night, good morning, and yeah. All right, let's do this.